Hey guys, good morning. It is the Truth Factor with headlines with an attitude. We have a couple of things coming out this morning. I have some information on some blackouts also in Maine and Massachusetts this week, and I think there's still like 40 some thousand people without power in Maine. That is not in the description in the box, but it is. I'll share the links in the comment section. Anyway, let's start with this crazy article from Zero Hedge, and it's not really crazy per se, isn't as much as what they're doing there. Very alarming, to say the very least. All right, guys. So here is the first article. It's like this lovely Walmart backwards. Poland's pro-EU government seizes public news channels in massive police raid. Poland's public television news stations went off air yesterday as police conducted massive raids to seize public news stations, the TVP, with fears becoming realized that Prime Minister Donald Tusk would move quickly to crack down on press freedoms once he assumed power. A group of senior law and justice politicians, including party leader Jaroslaw Kaczynski and a former Prime Minister, Matsu Morawiecki, arrived at the headquarters of the state-run TV broadcast, TVP, on Wednesday afternoon as the new pro-EU government moved to seize control of state-run press in a dramatic authoritarian fashion. Let's see. Let's look at this. Both Morawiecki and Kaczynski said that the government's decision to replace public media chiefs resembled a coup d'etat and an illegal takeover by force. Kaczynski told reporters that the Law and Justice Party stood in defense of democracy and a pluralistic media. There's that lovely word, democracy, right? PIS politicians compared the action to the introduction of Walmart backwards in Poland in 1981, in the sense that the government then also shut down the TV programs and dismissed scores of journalists. There was outrage to an incident in which a female MP from the PIS was assaulted by one of the bodyguards who assisted the new chairman of the TVP Broad in taking over an office at the TVP. I understand what they're saying, of course. We can look at the video. Wow. The former education minister, Przemysław Saskmek, said that this is the most brutal taking of power ever in the EU, with the government using force, assaulting MPs, and shutting down media they do not like. Meanwhile, culture minister Bartłomiej Seinwisk told the left liberal Gazeta Wyborska, the paper, the protest will achieve nothing. Earlier in the day, the government informed that the culture minister had relieved the CEOs of TVP, Polish radio, and the Polish press agency of their duties, and also dismissed the boards of directors of these outlets. Zywinsk has appointed a new boards of directors for TVP, Polish radio, and PAP, which in turn have appointed new executive boards, the Ministry of Culture added in its statement. It also said that the necessity and justification for the move flowed from Tuesday's resolution by the Polish parliament, which called on governments to restore the impartiality and credibility of public media. Protests continued outside TVP's headquarters in Warsaw throughout Wednesday. Well, I don't think taking them over is going to restore that, do you? Anyway, the journalists stopped from having their programs broadcast, have been hosted by the independent channel TV Republica, and they are planning to start broadcasting from there starting Thursday. Wow, not a way I think people want to wake up to in Poland. Pretty kind of crazy stuff taking place, in my opinion. I say that's kind of quite frightening because, you know, what are they going to do to people that speak against them, right? Wow, they can't just, are they going to come in and take over your home? I guess they could, right? Wow. Anyway, then here is this from Hal Turner. Russian Special Flight Squadron lands in D.C., Ukraine war to end. Russia lays out the terms of surrender. Russian officials arrived in D.C. Thursday morning to discuss the terms of Ukraine's surrender. This is the aircraft that brought the Russian delegation to D.C. And you can see, there it is. And there's the flight record when it landed from St. Petersburg into D.C. And then I guess from Moscow to St. Petersburg and Moscow. Anyway, there you go. Get down, kitty cat. Crazy cats. The Special Flight Squadron moves Kremlin officials traveling on important matters. Terms. The terms given to D.C. for Ukraine are complete Ukraine surrender, complete surrender of all military equipment. Russian territory will range from Kharkiv to Odessa and gives Russia complete control of the Black Sea coast. Western Ukraine cannot join NATO or have any military aid. Russia does not care who controls Western Ukraine and have openly offered it to Poland. Put bluntly, the Ukraine war is over and Ukraine lost completely. They can no longer defend themselves in any meaningful way. If hostilities are not halted, Ukraine will simply be slaughtered. And believe it or not, Russia does not want to do that. Notice this information isn't anywhere on the mass media news. Notice the Washington Post stopped printing its Ukraine war update section. No reporting that Ukraine has lost, and not a word about Russia's victory. This personifies what the so-called mainstream media has become, a mouthpiece for government. The mass media acts as the stenographer for the government wants you to know. They report the narrative as opposed to the news. Here's his opinion. Guys, I sometimes I just hold my breath that we get through it without it being too crazy. But sometimes his opinion is worth the news, right? Anyway, Russia won against billions of dollars, the best equipment, NATO trained troops. It got exactly the farmland it wanted. It lost about 30,000 troops and killed 300,000 Ukrainian soldiers plus NATO advisors. Russian military industrial capacity has tripled. NATO's reserve equipment and arms is non-existent now. The 20% of Ukraine they conquered are Russian and Russian speaking. So not only do those people not hate Russia, they support them. Energy prices have tripled in Europe, and these things stand now. Europe is on the verge of economic collapse. NATO and the U.S. have been proven to be a paper tiger. So many people in the West, in its media, and in its governments thought the Ukraine was one counter-offensive away from victory. It was all lies, deliberate lies. One wonders how all those folks are going to deal with Ukraine's defeat. He doesn't hold nothing back, does he? All righty. And then we are going to go over here to what may affect somebody you know, if not your household. Riddle inflation strikes household amid ongoing ADHD drug shortage. The national shortage of Adderall and other ADHD medications has led to steep rise in prices, a trend we're calling Ritalin inflation. The demand for ADHD drugs soared during COVID due to the increased telehealth use. The high demand, coupled with low supply, is causing an affordability crisis for some who rely heavily on the medications to focus. USA Today spoke with one of the families who said that their monthly ADHD medication went from under $20 to $300. The surge in cost has forced the husband and the family to stop taking the medication while prioritizing their daughter, who is in school. With medication and accommodations at school, my daughter is a straight A student. Without the medication, she's failing, the mother said, who wished not to be named because her husband's employer does not know about his diagnosis. Some families are scrambling to afford the medication and find pharmacies near them carrying name brand and generic ADHD drugs. Data in the National Average Drug Acquisition Cost a database that shows the average price pharmacies pay for prescription drugs shows the average price of 30 milligram capsule of methylphenidate sold under the brand names Ritalin, and Concerta has skyrocketed from $1.27 on December 2021 to nearly $3 this month. Pharmacies have paid nearly double on an average for long-acting methylphenidate sold under brand names Ritalin and Concerta. The demand-driven shortage comes as Bloomberg data from 2021 shows that more than 41 million Adderall prescriptions were filled nationally, up to 10% from a year ago. In 2022, Bloomberg spoke with a dozen of patients across California, Indiana, and Michigan who were told by local pharmacists, CVS, HealthCorp, Walgreens, Boots Alliance, and Corp about the worsening shortage and how wait times for the medication could be up to a week or more. According to Ontario SICA CEO 46 Brooklyn Research, an Ohio-based nonprofit focused on the drug pricing research, shortage of the brand name ADHD drugs led doctors to prescribe generic medicines. This led to domino effect that even generic brands facing dwindling supplies. The widespread diagnosis of the ADHD in children and adults has transformed this country into an ADHD nation. Maybe excessive use of smartphones and electric devices is to blame for higher disorder rates over the years. Also, a new study revealed long-term ADHD medication use may increase cardiovascular disease. Another demand-driven drug shortage, entirely separate from ADHD, has been Ozempic and other weight loss drugs. These shortages might reflect a broader issue. Folks are becoming over-reliant on the pharmaceutical industrial complex for maintaining health. And guys, it's starting, to really get kind of crazy when you think about it now. I will say that there are some ADHD kids out there that could use something else, not maybe necessarily what they've been prescribed, but you have to go with what your provider tells you. And if they're telling you this, and missing these doses is critical, guys. I mean, hello there, Smoking Mountain Gal. Getting ready to go to work. I gotcha. Much love, sister. But these things can really, really make a difference in somebody's life that depends on these things. And it can indeed, it is unpredictable. It is indeed. I'll tell you, I've had the, I guess, the fortitude of knowing and being around ADHD kids. Okay. The doctors tried to diagnose one of our kids with ADHD. And he was not, well, I guess it would just be, yeah, he wasn't hyperactive, but he needed a little help concentrating. But the medication, it didn't help him. And so they went a different route, which was the teaching. They went with a more a one-on-one type approach is the way that we went, and that worked. So sometimes it's not necessarily drugs is going to take the cure. But sometimes, and I'll tell you, sometimes you have to have something to help. And we go from um, the nephew that it is in the family, that he is literally bounces off the walls if he doesn't have his medication, and he had to wear patches and 2 and 3 patches, take medication. And if he did not have, I mean, I'm telling you, it did not matter. I mean, the kid was all over the place. And then I had a friend that if her son missed his, oh my goodness, he broke our TV one time. Um, yeah, it was not good. So guys, I can see where sometimes you have to have these these medications. It's just absolutely necessary. Sometimes it's not. Like I said, my son, we just had to find a way to reapproach the way that we were teaching him. It was it had to work for him. It had to get his attention. And so, and sometimes it's medicine, right? Sometimes it is a medicine thing that you need to help the kids focus on, but not all the time. I mean, like I said, I probably could go all day with the different types of kids, and the different ways people learn, which um, it can be tiresome. It can be, I promise it can. We've had the pleasure of seeing all of this unfold. So for people like my nephew, that if they told him they didn't have his patches and didn't have the rest of the medication that went along with it, oh my goodness sakes, I don't think you could tie him. You would have to tie him down to a chair because he was all over the place. And then the other one, kind of the same thing, but it also helped control, I get, keep him focused, but also helped control his anger some, because he was a very angry child. They broke my TV, right? So it's crazy. We just have to allow God to guide us to the people that we need to be to, and trust in the provider, and to the care providers, that physicians that God brings to us. And so this this here could be really huge. And as you see, the numbers have grown astronomically for people that are using these ADHD medications. Adults, are using this, or still having to use this type of medication. It helps them at work and things of that nature. Because it's like one of those things you don't grow out of, I don't believe. Maybe you could, but it's really kind of crazy. It really is. So anyway, I'm going to be praying for these people that are on these drugs, that they will find an alternative, maybe a natural alternative or something that will help them. Because they've got to have something. I'm telling you, we've experienced all parts of this. Okay. Then we have, guys, this was on the 19th. Okay. And it's talking about a power outage map that over 500,000 customers are without power in Maine and Massachusetts, right? A deadly storm system rolled through the Northeast Monday, bringing with it a torrential rain and strong winds that killed at least 4 people across the region, as well as knocking out power and delaying flights. According to the National Weather Service, wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour were recorded along the southern New England shoreline, while trees and power lines were downed and weather warnings were issued from North Carolina to Maine. Parts of New Jersey and northeastern Pennsylvania saw more than 5 inches of rain, and parts of other states recorded more than 4 inches of rain, according to the NWS. New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, and Boston saw some city streets underwater around afternoon rush hour. As of Tuesday morning, over 500,000 utility customers in Maine and Massachusetts were without power, according to Power Outage US Track. The updated power outage number is in each state below. And a stream of cold air is expected to bring lake effect snow to the interior Northeast on Tuesday, and it's threatening the region with dangerous travel conditions, according to the National Weather Service. Guys, I don't know about y'all, but you go from flooding and then to snow. That's not a good combination. And not to mention, if you don't have power, oh my, how many people will be sick? Parts of western New York, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia could see 6 to 12 inches of snow and wind gusts reaching speeds of 40 miles an hour on Tuesday. Monday recap: deadly storms pound the Northeast with torrential rain and scary wind gusts. Tuesday, areas of the interior Northeast to receive up to 12 inches of snow. The main power outage map. There are over 430,000 power outages reported in Maine. As of 7:35 Eastern Time, the outages are spread out across the state, with Knapp County reporting over 67,000 outages and Penobscot County reporting over 63,000 outages. And guys, and this is the view of the map as of December 22nd at 9:25 a.m. So they're saying that there is still 67,000 outages and 63,000. So this is still like 120,000 people still without power, and this is saying that this is at 9:25 a.m. Right? I want to show you why why it's important to actually sometimes read these articles, because looky here. This is the lovely little map that we can all go to and see who's affected and who isn't. And it'll give you a good general idea of where, the highest concentration of power outages, but it doesn't give you an accurate count. As we can see here, it says Maine's only got, 48,006 people without power. And then here's a little in California, Texas, Oregon, West Virginia. But and the main concentration is up here. And they're saying that this is tracked out of 852,000 people, right? But you go over here and you look at this here, they're the power outage map, and it tells us that, and this is as of 8 today, there are 430,000 power outage reported in as the Eastern time outages, and they're reporting 67,000 outages. But here it is. This is who is still without the view of the map as of now, I guess. And then we still have Massachusetts power outage map. They're reporting this, but as you can see, there's no one here in Massachusetts. So this here, it appears Massachusetts is okay. But for Maine, guys, there's still quite a bit of people in Maine without power. So we got to keep Maine in our prayers. And this is 12/22, right, guys? Wow. Anyway, hi, Sassy Cindy. How are you? So we definitely need to be praying for the medication shortages, and then for the power outages. And I saw California again still has some power outages. They were the second on the list, and Texas is the third. And again, I didn't see anything specific why they were without power. I mean, 3,000 people, 4,000 people, that's still a good bit of people, even if it's not in the tens of thousands, right? It's still, if 5 people are without power, to me, that's 5 too many. Anyway, these are the things that I will ask you guys to lift up for my prayer warriors that pray. And for those that don't, just we just thank you for joining us this afternoon, okay, or this morning rather. It's 8:50 Eastern or Central Standard Time, and Eastern Time I believe it's 9:50, and it's probably 6:50 on the Pacific time, right? Anyway, Oh, good morning, everyone. And I hope everyone has a wonderful, blessed day. And that is what I have for each and every one of you. Definitely remember the people in Poland, they could use some prayers, guys. Scary, scary things taking place all around the globe. Anyway, God bless you guys. Have a wonderful, blessed day. And we will see you all later. God is good. Love you all. Bye.